You are listening to River West Radio on WXR WLP 104.1 FM Milwaukee. Support for this program comes from Collectivo Coffee, dedicated to keeping Milwaukee's bike riding community rolling with bike pumps available for use in all Collectivo cafes. More info is available in cafes and at collectivocoffee.com. Great. Welcome to Cinema Fireside. Thomas saw fit to join me on stage, a robust companion, dutifully silent but loudly present nonetheless, and I appreciate that. We also have Zav and Martin around, great guys, and Suki just finished her show, and I had actually, I had one of her brownies, and unbeknownst to her, two of her brownies, they were so delicious. Definitely. Thank you, Suki. Great brownies. Great person. And I think Bob just walks past. We'll just wave at him right there. And Gabe, we know that you're on the line. Thank you very much for that. And Suki's guests are now departing. Good people all. If you're listening live, we're here in Milwaukee. Beautiful sunny, warm spring evening. People are walking past, biking past, driving past. We're in the heart of River West. Hey, Suki. Great brownies, thank you. Suki's a great personality. Martin is very serious in his craft, but still knows how to have fun. Always wants to check the boards. Tweaks things a little bit, just sometimes I think for the sake of tweaking them, but it can only serve to make it just a notch better, so thank you. And Zav is in here as well. He is a captain commander, and that's good stuff, a great soul. He is a patient, good soul. So thanks for everything, most certainly. And again, like I say, we have Gabe calling in from the ethereal realm of the phone line. We want to thank our listeners. And life's a trip. As I say, the more you say no to others, the more you say yes to yourself, and time flies. All of a sudden you'll be 6 feet under, facing up, with no choice in the matter anymore. When you're on 2 feet, that's the only time you have the choice. So just 99% of the people just say no. No, because it's going to get you nowhere in life to hang around with day-to-dayers. There's no mission. It's just the eternal drift into nothingness. So, but do what you will, for sure. Lots of stuff to do, lots of projects and so on and so forth. I had the good fortune of having one of my plays selected for the One Act Festival, the Village Playhouse. It's painting. I went to the opening night. It was swell. There were 6 rewarding plays. It opened with mine. I'm very thankful for all you guys, the Village Playhouse, for taking the time and effort to produce it. Great stuff. I've got full-length plays coming up, short-form plays, screenplays, etc., films, etc. And one can go into overwhelm if you get so involved in the outside world. I don't go out at night. There's got to be some real serious purpose for that. I know this week stuff is coming up, and I'm just going to have to probably do it Nancy Reagan told me so wisely to do. Just say no, unless I can think of some serious, benefit. I mean, who knows? Go home, read, pass out, wake up early in the morning, start that coffee, think about the trip of life, so on and so forth. Gabe, we're going to get to you in a moment. Talking with one of my colleagues, and she brought up the fact of people have this compulsion to have fun in the summer. And another one of my colleagues, he told me that people lose their minds in the summer. And it was the person I least expected to say something like that, because he's got kind of a robust connection in many ways to life. But Yeah, one of the great highs, I was actually just talking to another colleague today, and or he was talking to me, I guess would be more a literal translation of the events. But I don't even know what he said now. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, it's summer, so just say no if you want to write the great American novel. Be an engineer, be a ballet dancer, whatever. It's now is your time in the sun. Just say no to the commoners, the day-to-dayers. Say no to the eternal drift. Practice your guitar, the keyboards. Do whatever it is you got to do, or be with the collective. Do whatever you want. It's like I say, you gotta take control of your own life, man. Definitely. So what a joy to say no. What a joy. What a joy. And so, Gabe, let's see what time it is. 7:06 if you're listening Central Time. How about we do 4 more minutes of this insanity, Gabe, and then put you on the air. We've got the phone on. We just have to turn up the fader, and all will be good. And Gabe, in his learned, enthusiastic nature, will commandeer the airwaves like nobody's business. Definitely. So, film-wise, I've got this documentary on Peggy Guggenheim, which I can't wait to check out, and other stuff as well. I've got a Henry Jaglom film. I definitely need to see more of his work. A very interesting filmmaker. So, but I don't know. I've seen like 1 or 2 films this month. Just been out and about way too much. Actually, I was supposed to be at some festival or something. No, I wasn't supposed to be, but I have a film playing in a major city next to us, and it was like, you know what? That's enough of that. So, I mean, that stuff will just continues on and on. But I hope it all went well, and I'm sure it did. Quinn and Sarah Lou, welcome to our humble place of recognition. Those are great people. And heck yeah, man. I did see a interpretation of Sheriff Buford Pusser's Adventure Down in the Southland. It was made for TV, 78, entitled A Real American Hero, I think, a.k.a. Letter of the Law. When I was looking at the copyright at the end of the print, it said Letter of the Law. Anyway, it's summer, so we're talking Walk and Toll, we're talking Billy Jack, we're talking Race with the Devil, Crazy Larry and Dirty Mary, Vanishing Point, Two-Lane Blacktop, Duel, Sugarland Express, the American Road. Great, great, great stuff. And there's even more obscure stuff like Country Blue in that I got to revisit. What's a trip in thinking of some of these lower budget films is, these actors come from the theater, they just come from like the auto repair garage, and what was craft service like, and who was commingling with who, and what did they do after filming? They were sitting around a living room drinking, or all of that great stuff. And actually, horror wise, there's a book, A Nightmare USA, by Stephen Thrower. Just one of the just an excellent resource for that kind of filmmaking. It's American horror films from, I think it's 70 to 85. It is one heck of a volume. And it would be cool if they would just do, just regular low-budget films, do a whole huge volume like that with in-depth interviews, what the set was like and all kinds of stuff like that, and what the filmmakers and actors were actually doing. It's that'd be fun. But there's various magazines and so forth you can dip into, a Videoscope and that kind of go into that territory. So that's good stuff. And what else? Was going home from the country yesterday. Got gridlocked on Lincoln Memorial Drive. If you are in a time crunch, what a nightmare. Everyone was at the lake Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon. Oh, man, that was like a slow crawl along the lake. Very exciting, though. Very exciting sights, most certainly. But I had to get back at a certain point, so we slowly but surely marched ahead. and I cannot wait to get back home, read, and pass out. And definitely, throughout the day, you got to work on deals, work on assignments, work on your career and your life, and run into 10, 100 million people and try to be psychologically ambidextrous about the whole thing. 7:10, Gabe, this could be your time in the sun. Is it, Gabe? Is it? Or is it not? Oh, my. Hold on, Gabe.
Hello.
Oh, there you are, my man.
Here I am.
You sound so clear, it's almost bewildering.
It almost couldn't be.
Wow, dude.
It almost could be. It almost couldn't be. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
It sounds highly esoteric, very abstract.
Yep, that's where things are at a lot of the time. Reading coverage of cans this last week.
That's can to you, son.
Yep, it just man, the films that came out of Cannes are just so interesting, as they are every year. Reading about Cannes Film Festival every year is my favorite time of the year for film coverage. If not my absolute favorite, up there with my up there in the top 3 of the best stuff that happens all year.
I have to ask you this: do you know, just memory-wise, who won Best New Director?
I don't even remember who won. I don't consider that in like the major awards. But
it is, because here's the deal. It certainly is, especially for the one who wins it, and we want
the one who wins it. Yeah, I mean, after the camera door, I usually stop paying attention.
Well, that's when one does start to pay attention. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what? One of my daughter's colleagues, one of my daughter's acquaintances won Best Director at Cannes. So, Chloe, congratulations, mega.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stuff.
What is it? Songs My Brothers Taught Me. It was over at the university. Tom, did you see that? Okay, yeah, that was a great film.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a great film.
And,
that actually is supposed to be an incredible film.
So Chloe's the director of that, and that's one of my daughter's acquaintances. So congratulations, mega for winning at Cannes. Huge, life-changing event.
Absolutely.
So I think that's just one of the greatest things in the world. That is mega cool.
Yeah, that's I can't even imagine having that kind of success on your plate, or having that kind of recognition for your art, for your storytelling, for being a director, for being a filmmaker, for really doing anything, no matter what time of life it is, whether it's the beginning of your career as a filmmaker or near the end of your career as a filmmaker, no matter what actual film it is. I mean, I remember, I've never actually made a film that's gotten released. I mean, you're working on your what is it now, your second year. I mean, you've made several films. You've worked on a lot of stuff, but in terms of the actual, like a finished product that's gotten released, that has like, the number of products that you'll work on versus the number of finished products. I mean, even just like Zav used to say that on the show all the time, like just finishing a film, even an awful film, is such an accomplishment that
it's all psychological, my man. I mean, it depends where you're. It's not. There is no big secret to life. The big secret is there is none. You got about 70, 80 years to do whatever it is you want. That's it. That's all you need to know. You don't have to go to the mountaintop. You don't have to look for Atlantis. You don't have to You don't have to go. You don't have to leave your living room couch, man. So people are crazier than heck, man, looking for that secret of life. It's to live it, man. It doesn't go beyond that. I mean, you can light a stick of incense and think what you want, man. Good luck.
Well, I don't think that there's a lot of people that are really that worried about answers. But what I was more getting at is just, putting a lot of effort into something that you're passionate about it's a beautiful thing, whether you achieve any sort of success or whether it goes anywhere, whether it goes any place that you're hoping to is really irrelevant, is what I was getting at, is that it's never about that sort of more childish idea of success of like when you're young, when you're like in your late teens and your early 20s, you're like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to make sure that this, you have these dreams of recognition or this dream of sort of things going in this certain path or in this certain way. And of course, nothing happens like that. And that's the whole point, is that
speak for yourself.
Well,
yeah. Hey, dude, I'll tell you this, Gabe. You are young, you are talented, you have the energy of a bull at its prime, dude, man. You're ready to roll. Oh, you even have the key to the gate. All you got to do is which way do you counterclockwise twist that sucker, man. You're good to go.
Yeah, it
opens.
The things that I've wanted to do, I did.
Oh man, see, you've already been to the mount. What left is there then?
Well, but I didn't get there in the way that I would have thought. Like when I was like 15, 16, 17. Like my idea of success is so different from what I consider today, and what I think of today. Because today I'm not worried about today that stuff doesn't occur to me. Because I was thinking about it a few weeks ago. Like, it never really occurred to me that I have actually achieved all of the goals that I had when I was a kid in different ways than I would have ever thought. But because I've always been so neurotically obsessed with the idea of monetary success, or the idea of having things sort of figured out on a plate, or having things like that idea of other people recognizing my success, that I never took the time to realize that I did succeed in the ways that I've always wanted to, in a more meaningful way, and in a technical way, in the ways that I wanted to when I was a kid. To some degree, this show, I didn't realize that I was actually more astute with film studies and film academics than I was with filmmaking until I was in my mid-20s. And so my goals and my ambitions for being involved in having movies and films involved in my life went from being a filmmaker, which I still work on my scripts and my projects almost every day in one way, shape, or another. I do writing, editing, or I do, even if I'm working my 9-to-5 job, I'll take time where I'll just, where I do a form of meditation where I just go over my material in my head, which is where most of my new scenes are crafted from, or just in the middle of doing a monotonous task in a kitchen or at a job while making, a living wage. And that, to me, that is success, because on the one hand, I've crafted a life of skills where, like, I have a trade that, like, I can cook, I can.
You sound like the man's beating you down.
Well, no. What I'm saying is like that I actually feel empowered, because I do have a physical trade that I have with my hands and body and mind that I can make a living with. But I also have another trade that, like, keeps me alive. That, I can think about movies, I can talk about movies, and like that passion and enthusiasm for what's going to happen next in the world of cinema. And the fact that it's not just about me, that's the whole point, is that it isn't just about me. Like, the fact that we have loyal listeners that love this show, that can't wait for the next, they can't wait for the next episode because they want to know, like, what are we going to talk about? There's a lot of, I hear about it all the time. Like, there's listeners that we have that come to us that are like, I love hearing, and we didn't have that a few years ago, Mark. I mean, this radio station got started with a laptop and a handful of wires. If you look back at those early pictures of the earliest days of this radio station, when it was Zav and Nick, I mean, like, Zav basically pulled me aside one day when I came into the store, when I came into River West Film and Video, and he just took me aside, and I was like, what's that chalkboard on the wall? And he just said, you have to start a radio show and talk about films. And I was like, what? And he basically told me that that's what I had to do. And that's basically where the show got started.
You emerged from the primordial soup here.
Yep. And now, years later, Mark, I mean,
we're having this conversation.
It never really occurred to me that I am a film critic, but, because I was always like, I always looked down at myself. Or I always. No. Well, because after years of thinking in terms of, well, what do other people think of me? How do I rate my success?
You look like a Ken doll.
Compared to other people's success, it's like, well, do I make money from it? How much money do I make from it? How many people does my influence reach? How many people know about the show? How widely revered is it? And I never stop to think, well, actually, who cares?
I do, and it seems like you've been lighting those incense sticks.
Well, no, I don't light incense. I don't have any procedure to meditation. I just say, well, whatever, just get the job done and do it. I don't, it
almost sounds like you're about to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, man. This is very sobering. Man, what can I say?
In some ways, that's just getting through another day right there. You said it, Mark. I think just
no, it ain't about getting through another day. I mean, the days that they're crazy, but it's not like getting through them. It's like, man, this is a trip. I better make a note of it.
Well, thriving, and not just surviving, but thriving on a daily basis. No matter what your parameters are for thriving, but choosing to thrive because the choice is your own. If you're looking down at yourself, or if you're looking down at everything you do, if you're looking down at everyone else, you're looking down. It doesn't matter if you have a superiority complex and all you see is like nothing but people that are inferior to you. You're still looking down. And what I've decided is, like, just recently, it just occurred to me. I'm like, I think the reason I'm a little bit happier is that who cares about what anyone else is doing or what anyone else is thinking?
Son, I could have told you that.
Look at yourself at an equal playing field, and what's really going on around you day to day. What are you really doing with your days? And what I realized is I actually liked what was going on day to day. And I should like what I'm doing day to day, and I should be proud of it. And that there's a reason that our show has a following, and there's a reason that River West Radio is a really interesting station, and that there's a ton of interesting content on it. And that I do have nothing but good things in my life. Even the things that aren't great, like there's a ton of problems that came up this week. Like one of our cats died.
I'm sorry about that, Gabe.
My phone just decided to not take a charge anymore, not work, even though it's brand new and it's this beautiful wonder of technology. It just doesn't work. There's other little real minor problems in the universe that come up that are real minor compared to what's, imagine someone who's stuck in this refugee crisis in the Middle East, or imagine people who can't feed their children right now. I mean, my problems are pretty minor compared to, like, a mother of 6 who can't feed her kids.
Right, but they're still yours. I wouldn't, there's no, you can do a moral equivalent all you want, but only you are going to end up responsible for you. Yeah, I think about that all the time. I know that I do have it good. I've got mental faculties, health, all of that stuff. So that's why it has to be protected, man, from these nonsense commoners, day-to-day people who their whole thing in life is new blood, to draw you into their, events, their circumstances.
They're winning, Mark, but they're winning if you're talking about them right now. Then,
dude, I'm giving it about 7 seconds, times the seconds, times the minutes, times the hours during a day, and you are going to be incomprehensibly blown away by the ratio, the diminutive ratio of that to the other. So, my man, clever comeback, but it did not work.
Okay. Well, I mean, but just, who cares about that?
I do.
I mean, Mark, you are so much more powerful than I'd say.
No, dude, we're all equal. All 8 billion of us. We all have the exact same worth. What I'm saying is, dude, is you got to live your own life. It's not better or not better. That doesn't even exist. That doesn't even exist, my man.
But then that's what I'm saying is like if these, so we're all equal, right?
Correct.
So these people that you're referring.
Well, that dude's got a better car than I do, but I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Man. Or some people ain't even got a car, so there you go.
I'm going to let this one go.
You got to, Gabe. You got to, because you've given more than 7 seconds to it.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is like I hear you talk about that quite often about.
It's
these
like a
people
mantra, my man. It's a mantra.
Okay, but do you feel like it's like that they really are trying to take something from you?
Oh, absolutely.
I just don't know who these people are.
Dude, I'm right there in the trenches. Believe you me, man. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, my man. I mean, you do eat 3 squares a day, don't you?
That are trying to tear you apart.
Yeah, there you go.
It sounds so ominous and evil and like
not
horrible.
Evil, but bothersome. But hey, dudes,
Okay.
you eat 3 squares a day, right? I mean, you don't wake up tomorrow saying, "Man, I just ate yesterday."
No.
You're gonna fall flat on your face if you don't eat.
Like I think
food's a mantra. Suki knows that food's a mantra, man.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
I just can't. You've talked about this for many years on the show about these like faceless TV watching hordes of zombies.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's their bit. Well, dude, what I'm saying is, my man, Gabe, my man. All I'm saying is you have to protect your own. It's not what other people do. Who cares about that? Who cares about anything? What I'm saying is, my man, you have to protect yourself. You have to ennoble yourself, ennoble your ambitions. And what I'm saying, my man, is that day-to-dayers, when it's like somebody's panhandling or something like that, you don't be given like your last $2. You protect yourself and say no thanks, but have a great day. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, duh.
So, well, it ain't duh because I see people giving it out and because they're naive.
Well,
so you got to.
Okay,
dude. Why do you think there's religious books? Because people be singing hymns for a reason. Dang, didn't you just sing that like last week? Yeah, and I'm singing it again this week because it's what I do. It's like there's 7 days in a week. A year from now, there'll be 7 days in a week. So, I mean, why would you have a faulty psychology and just be really errant in your thinking and chaotical instead of having some more or less divine system that you roll with?
Yeah, I think everyone does, to be honest.
Right.
I think everyone has a pretty set of values.
There you go. Welcome to the club.
Well, I've been a part of it for many years.
Oh, I know, and we're going to give you a gold star, Gabe, and you know that.
My set of values, I'm like I just don't necessarily think that. I think necessarily. I just don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that necessarily I just don't. I don't know, Mark.
My man, some people subscribe to Time. Some people subscribe to Newsweek. It cuts both ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think things are so tenuous sometimes because there's such a fast amount of change that can happen in a lifetime. Like if I look back at what I believed when I was 19, and if I looked at what I believed even 3 years ago, and if I looked at what I believed, like last week, yeah, there's a lot of currents. There's a lot that I would say is absolutely the same. There's like my core values, my 3 core values.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Well, I would say but most of them involve other people. Like the way that I truly believe that I should treat other people, like trust, which is a huge thing for my sister and I. And some of those core values, what's been an issue is that I haven't remained faithful to my own core values of what I admire in other people and in what I admire in my family, what I admire in my friends, what's important in keeping people in the people that I want to have close in my life. I haven't always been 110% those values myself, that's where a lot of neuroses and a lot of psychological problems and pain and the illusion of suffering comes from, is from when there's a discongruity between the self and the mind, these different selves. It's like you say one thing, but you do another. Well, there's going to be some psychological backlash probably if there's like this incongruity between the selves. And, like saying like, well, I believe in altruism and I believe in contributing and I believe in helping people and I believe in doing your best, but at the same time protecting yourself, like not being some fool that wanders around giving your last dollar. I could not agree with you more, Mark.
You're too kind.
But I think that that's just the common sense of being an adult. Like, that's like going to college. Like, you know, before you pack your bags and go to college, or before you, like, leave home, I think that if you don't know, like, hey, you know, taking care of your teeth and tying your shoe and sort of like making sure you have money to pay your car insurance is a little more important than helping out that guy in the corner who has this sob story about
oh yeah,
how
they're
his
just getting
car broke
booze.
down. You know, I mean, I agree with you, Mark. I completely agree that there is not I mean, my paychecks are not huge from
You give them a granola bar, they'll look like you're from Pluto, man.
You know, the day-to-day jobs that I do does not pay, like, huge sums of money, but I get by. And you know what? I'm okay. And even when, like, some paychecks, some of them that are on the smaller end, you know, I get by. Life's okay. The sun still shines, and I, you know, I'm surrounded by a family that loves me, that I love, and I'm fixing things in my life that, you know, aren't necessarily broken, but that a few months ago were not in the best order. Like, the puzzle got kind of shaken up, a little pulled out of place, and what I realized was not that the puzzle had just suddenly come out of place, but that the puzzle was out of place for a long time. And it had been for a long time, and I was pretending that it wasn't for a long, long time. And pretending that it wasn't out of order, that I was pretending that that the puzzle was all fine and everything was put together, that just isn't going to work anymore. And but I agree with what you're saying about, like, you do have to take care of day-to-day business before you can make an impact on your friends, on your family, and help people. There is a point where you just have to sort of, like, make sure that everything, that the shoes on your feet fit, that, you know, you get a hair. Today I got a haircut, you know, like that.
Congratulations, my man. Just so the listeners know, I've been with the dude getting the haircuts, man.
That's true. You have come with me many times to get haircuts because it's a very zen experience. It's just, there's something about getting a haircut that I really love. I love the entire experience of going into the shop, talking to the hairstylist, and seeing where it goes, because no two haircuts are ever the same, really. They're never the same. And so there's always this sort of
See, that's that incense talking again.
Absolutely. Even though there's this possibility of the hair of, you know, on paper, it's like, yeah, I'm getting the same haircut, but, you know, it's a different hairstylist, it's a different set of eyes, and it's still open to interpretation. So getting, well, wow, we had a little discussion here. There's two other topics I wanted to bring up before the end of the show.
You got 27 minutes.
One is that I wanted to talk to a number of people who had private messaged me and not private messaged me about what happened to the Cinema Fireside archives. So I contacted our administration at River West Radio. I was transitioning from one job to another, and my hours were a little strange there for a minute, but I did talk to Zav LaPlay the other night, and Martin Hallinger weighed in as well. And so between the two of them, what it's sounding from the administration end is that SoundCloud, and I could tell you this too from a while ago, that SoundCloud has been moving more into the arm of becoming something like a little bit more of a less altruistic force of trying to just be this sort of open source place for people to put their music and upload their music, and where it's like open and sort of and free, to now becoming a competitor with Google Play or with Spotify, with a streaming music service. So the fact that River West Radio, when it was conceived and using SoundCloud as a service, which was a very good, which, you know, SoundCloud's a very good service, but it very much at that time fell into line with how the radio station's values, and sort of just, you know, this sort of democratic and very open and fair, but not suckery, but democratic and fair, and worth using. It was like it's been a very good service, and it's been a great tool. And to be honest, our show wouldn't have had the reach and the scope towards getting listeners in other cities. Lou from Brooklyn, Heidi, and we got listeners in other countries. We had listeners in other continents. SoundCloud has been priceless in its ease of us archiving the shows, and in everyone on the radio station archiving all of their shows. It's part of our standard operating procedure is the paperwork after the show, and it's one of the best parts of doing the show. I miss it dearly. And so now that SoundCloud has sort of wiped the slate clean, of our previous material, they're withholding it, or it's just not available right now. It's not that it's gone necessarily, but it's just not available right now, is sort of what we're looking at.
As with all things digital, it just goes down the toilet. Everything that's zeros and ones, man, you be writing your journal always. You be cutting your music on an album always. You be putting your film on film always. You do the zeros and ones. Flush down the toilet. It's not if, it's when. All your photos, all everything. Gone, finito. Well, eventually.
That is very, very true. But what I wanted to get at is that.
You took a side road.
I'm just looking at it as a new beginning, and so I'm not dwelling on it. I'm not angry about it. I'm not upset. I could care. I mean,
wait, what happened? No, I'm just kidding, dude.
On the one hand, I'm looking at it as a very good thing, as this is the new age of our show. I'm looking forward to another set of years. I'm looking forward to another huge wave of content. I'm looking forward to where our show goes, and I don't know where our show is going, and that's what all of a sudden I just sat down and thought about it the other day. I was like, because I responded to 2 private messages where people had asked, what's, and I just said, I guess we're just moving forward.
Right.
I'm not going to dwell on that. I guess what we have to do is just keep churning out quality shows about the state and the past and the future of cinema, and have some good conversation in between. So, with that being said, Mark, I look forward to many, many more episodes of this show with you, and whoever our guests may or may not be. This show has been one of the great joys of my life, and I really appreciate your involvement, and everyone involved in the station's involvement, our fans, some of whom have become my friends. It's a joy and a treat to have this show in my life, so I really appreciate it. And there's a few episodes I have to admit that I will dearly miss not being able, when people ask me, like, what's a good show to check out? And I can just easily, go to SoundCloud.com and send them the 1966 episode or the Ozu episode or the...
we did one in 66, dude. I was like 0 years old, and you were... And you weren't even there, my man.
Oh, no, I wasn't even a sketch. No. There's about 7 or 8 episodes that the camaraderie, the content, and even just like there was just shows where we're just taking care of business, like William Friedkin, any list of other directors. The Friedkin
Connection's a great memoir.
That is. It's an incredible book. And there's, 52 episodes, 53, 51 episodes a year, give or take. And, you do that for a few years, and, man, you've got a body of work after a while. So I'm looking at it as just literally we're moving forward, and we have more shows, and people can listen live. What we're probably going to do is start podcasting. So as soon as these episodes are done, I'm going to start a podcast, and we're going to start uploading from there. So the Cinema Fireside Facebook page as an archiving source and as a place for people to come to easily gain quick access to new episodes. That lives on. So thank you to the patience and the perseverance and the enthusiasm and the dedication of many listeners, new listeners, longtime listeners, occasional listeners, diehards, everyone in between. Very, very appreciated to all of that. So that was the other point I wanted to address.
Sounds like a school board meeting.
Real quick, it kind of was. I was just thinking the same thing. I wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can listen to those on the radio. Those are a trip, man. I think, wow. Sometimes I just listen to them for a little bit and think, yeah, this really is a trip, man.
Yeah. I wanted to mention some winners, some of the official winners at Cannes, and
That's
there were
Cannes,
a number. At Cannes, I'm sorry. There were a number of other films that did not win prizes that I read about that were equally interesting, though. But the official major winners, and Mark, I will let you also first. Why don't we start with the director, with the first-time director's prize, which again went to.
Well, I know I don't know how to pronounce her last name. So what do you want me to say? Chloe Z, I think. Let's just say that. Someone knows.
The name of her.
Chloe Z. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Songs. It's not 4 songs my brothers taught me, but that is the film that introduced me to her work.
Okay.
But like I said, one of my daughters alerted me to the fact, and that was like great news. So definitely.
So starting off, let's get on with the big prize.
The Palme d'Or.
The Palme d'Or, the big gun, went to, unsurprisingly, The Square, which is a new film from Ruben Östlund, who's a Norwegian filmmaker who made Force Majeure, which is a very exciting film from a few years ago that I really enjoyed. The Grand Prix went to 120 beats per minute, which was widely looked at as probably winning the Palme d'Or, but ended up winning the Grand Prix. That was directed by Robin Campillo, which is a sort of docudrama about the early days of the French movement to gain support for AIDS research and to get access to medicine. Act Now, which was the organization which had worldwide sponsors and worldwide affiliation in different countries and had leadership all over the world. It's about them organizing their leadership in France in many boardrooms and stuff like not boardrooms but meetings. So it sort of has a clinical directness from what I've been reading to it, but it's exciting and it's really well made and it's humane. It's supposed to be really good.
Right on, dude.
The Beguiled, Sofia Coppola, Best Director. I am so excited to announce that. Not announce.
I'll second that because I have a number of colleagues and so forth that really dig Sofia Coppola. Mm-hmm. So Sofia Coppola, so excellent.
I cannot wait to see this movie because The Beguiled is the original. The Beguiled from 1970 is one of my all-time favorite films. It's one of Eastwood's best pieces of acting. It's it's one of Don Siegel's best directed films. So to see her directing a remake is just, man, it's just exciting. Best actor went to Joaquin Phoenix for You Were Never Really Here. Diane Kruger in The Fade for Best Actress. The jury prize went to Loveless for Andrei Zivyaginetsev, the guy who directed Leviathan from a few years ago. Yorgos Lanthimos got the best screenplay for The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Lynn Ramsey for You Were Never Really Here. They tied for best screenplay. The Camera d'Or went to Jeune Femme, directed by Lenore Cyril. So,
and you're knocking those pronunciations out of the park, dude. Good work, Gabe.
Thank you, Mark. So Cannes had a number of big events that happened this year. Okja, the new film by Boon Woon. I'm going to get his name up.
You had a long day. You're doing well nonetheless.
Yeah. He the one of the two foremost Korean directors, and widely acclaimed filmmaker. Directed a film that Netflix had not acquired. I'm sorry, they actually produced the film about a giant pig, sort of a science fiction fairy tale fable. Tilda Swinton was in it. This gentleman had previously directed Snowpiercer, as well as the Vengeance trilogy, as well as I Saw the Devil. I Saw the Devil is one of my all-time favorite thrillers. It has flaws.
Yeah, don't give it away, Gabe. I've yet to see it. Let me actually make a note of that, because
Mark, that's a film that puts ideas and actual storytelling and actual filmmaking ahead of just coolness, or ahead of flashiness, or ahead of the watch me and forget me factor of so many movies. That is a film that forces you to remember it. That is a film that makes you pay attention to it. And it's not a chore. It is a delight. It's a treat.
Very exciting.
Man, I remember watching that film one afternoon in the summer when I was with my daughter. She was too young. I mean, she didn't watch the film. And she was probably 2 months old at the time, and I remember she was taking a nap, and she was sleeping in her little like move back in her little rocking vibrating chair thing, and she fell asleep for a little while, and she took her nap like an hour earlier than she normally did at that time. And I just remembered, like, I had a minute and I was wide awake, and I was like, well, I guess let's watch this movie, because I'd been hearing about it from so many people, and I put it in, and man, and just watching, when you get scared from a horror film, watching it in that bright summer sunshine daytime, there are certain horror films that I've watched at home, like in the bright daylight, and they just scare me more than if I would have watched them late at night in the dark, alone, or like like potentially like just like the bumps and chills of the film being even scarier. Somehow the inverse being true. I don't know if that adds to the environment or if it just means, man, the movie is just that terrifying. But man, that is one of them. But his new film, Okja, was sort of mildly received, and the controversy over Netflix being a major provider of original entertainment at Cannes is an argument.
I can't sleep at night.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Like who cares?
Well, no, somebody certainly does care, and it does affect their lives in a major, probably economic and business-wise way. But I was just throwing a little fun into the mix. That's all, Gabe. Yeah. I hope no one collapsed.
No, I know, but it has a lot to do with the prestige of film, of the history of cinema, of the fact that movies, that they need to be at least part of the requirement for Cannes is that the films be projected on film and shown in French cinemas. So the fact that these were digital made films and that they're being shown on digital, they're being digitally projected, and then after the festival, the only place that you'll be able to see them is on streaming on your mobile device or on your computer. Granted, many people have these large super TVs or these large super projectors at their home that can literally present things in a very cinematic format in the privacy of their own home in the correct aspect ratios and with this sort of vivid cinema quality. But I understand that there is something about the preservation of atmosphere, about the preservation of cinema, about the state of watching cinema, about the idea of the audience, of the theater, of the that certain aspects of the film culture remain intact no matter what, and that Netflix is sort of a threat to the old guard. and the new guard too. That's not to say that it's like new guard versus old guard, because there's plenty of people that I know in their late teens and early 20s that are on board with this argument that there is something lost about that there's something that you lose when you don't have necessarily that experience of cinema culture as it's existed for the majority of its entirety, of the fact that things have changed so fast within a very short period of time that there's this, that people are worried that movie theaters aren't going to, and I don't really have an opinion on either side, because there's much bigger issues in the world that I think, are, a lot more terrifying and actually affect people a lot more than whether we're worried about our movies. As someone who loves movies, like a lot of my life revolves around film and cinema culture. If movie theaters go away, somehow my life will go on. I'll still probably be alive. I don't think that movie theaters not being a thing is going to affect the well-being of my daughter. I don't think it's going to destroy the lives of my friends. Somehow we will go on. It'll be sad, but I think we'll all be okay.
What in God's name are you talking about? What are you...
People
Dude,
are
my
really,
man.
There are some people that are freaking out about the idea that Netflix is going to take away the movie theater, that Netflix is going to destroy most movie theaters, that streaming culture... It's this widespread argument that people are freaking out about the idea that
oh man,
theaters...
I got to get hip to this, man. I got to freak out too.
No, you don't.
Let me know how I can get onto this. Man, I need an additional thrill.
Yeah. So it's just
my.
Okay, let's find something to talk about where there's nothing to talk about. Okay, could this be a more pointless argument, a more pointless thing to talk about? So.
Which you're talking about.
More and more.
But no, I'm just kidding, dude. I had to throw that in here. But no, it's all in good fun, Gabe, because I think you're among our most learned, most dedicated scholars out there. And what we're doing right now at this very moment is reaping the benefit of that uber education that you continually provide for yourself. And we wholeheartedly and collectively thank you, Gabe.
Thank you, Mark. It had to be brought up just because out of irritation, because I've been hearing about this a fair amount, and I just usually ignore it because I don't really care.
It got to be too much, though. You couldn't hold back. No. The dam broke. You got overwhelmed.
So, if movie theaters, which I anticipate it probably will happen in my lifetime, that movie theaters will become sort of like a novelty thing. There'll be one or two movie theaters where the movie theater will sort of be like the drive-in.
Dude, in about 60 years from now, there'll probably be drive-ins all across the land because all of this stuff just goes in cycles. I mean,
that's absolutely true, Mark.
Pick up your history book.
True.
No, it's going to go in cycles.
Well, it does. It's not that it's going to go; it does go.
About 100 years from now, people will be saying, "Internet? What's the internet?" It's like what? You'll be getting out a handkerchief thinking about it. It has no meaning. I would say stick to just focusing on your fruits and vegetables, my man. That you do need.
Well, that's what I do. So that's pretty good. In fact, it's interesting that you say that. That's how I've been actually gaining a large portion of the new friendships I've been making down here. Is just the most random people. I'll start up a conversation about power foods or about, alkalizing or just this or that. Then all of a sudden, someone I would have never expected who has a similar interest in health, nutrition, diet, exercise, all that stuff. It's usually the not the least likely, but it's just someone I work with. There's someone I'm acquainted with. There's someone that oh, no kidding. Oh, no kidding. Well, what do you do for breakfast? And we just chat, and we have a very similar temperament, or we have a very similar habit, and we just have a very similar way of looking at it and talking about it. And before you know it, it's this thing that we talk about on an almost daily basis. We run into each other, and we just have this, it's this empowering discussion where it's like an encouragement. It's a mutual encouragement to stay healthy, because it is true, Mark. Replacing processed sugar with fruit, it is going to keep your mental capacities at a very full, alive parameter. taking in as many vegetables, whether it's cooked or raw, you're going to feel a little bit better. And just replacing processed foods with as many natural foods, even if they're not organic or whatever, local or whatever, just fruits and vegetables. You are speaking the truth, Mark. They do help you stay alive, help you feel alive. They give you strength and vitality. Today, what did I eat for lunch? I had a huge cheeseburger, half-pound cheeseburger that also had pulled pork and bacon and all sorts of other good stuff on it. So,
dang, I wish I was eating with you, man.
Some days it's meat, some days it's mostly vegetarian, and sometimes even vegan. But I'll tell you, today was a serious meat day. I was not kidding around.
Good.
So, one more thing.
Make it 2 more. You got about 4 minutes.
I went to go see Wonder Woman, which was sort of an obligation. It was just an obligation.
That paid off, I hope.
To a friend of mine who I had promised I would go see this film with. And I have to admit,
it was pretty decent.
Half the film was stutteringly awful, but the other half of the film was extremely, extremely potent and alive and energetic and necessary, and had a sort of beautiful, haunting, feminine rhythm to it. And the image of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is a stunning image, and she is Wonder Woman in this film. And it's not just the beauty, it's not just her the fact that she's a woman and she's in this costume. It's that I believe that she's Wonder Woman. It's that she is Wonder Woman, and the special effects, I just sort of, you just sort of like take them as they come, and all these blow up movies, and that's your term, Mark, blow up cinema. This blow up stuff, it just sort of starts to
No, I think that's from somebody else. I don't remember ever saying that.
You said it on the show several years ago, and it just like hit me in the face like a good punch, and I was like, that is it right there, blow up cinema.
Too bad we can't go back to that edition and listen.
Oh man, well, I remember it was an episode back when Zav was still on the show, and
you got the memory of a killer.
And you were referring to the masses, and you were like, these people, they want to watch TV, you want to go to the theater and watch blow up and stuff like that. That's fine. I'm not going to do that. And I just remember thinking, blow up. God, that is so.
I was probably talking about the film, man.
No, you weren't. You were, and then I asked you later. I'm like, the movie Blow Up, and you're like, no. That's what I'm referring to. This new, because I had made a reference to like the newest Michael Bay Transformers film or something. You were like, man, if these people want to go watch Blow Up, and I was like, the movie Blow Up, and you said, no, Blow Up cinema. This boom, bang, pop, and I was like, God, that is just great. And I now incorporate that into my vocabulary where I refer to this contemporary slate of like even at their best, even when these films are at their best or their worst, because some of them are very good. Like some of these films where they follow those same set of rules some of them are much better than others. They actually have original ideas. They actually have a screenplay. What a novel idea! There's actually a film there. There's actually a movie with interesting characters.
And Gabe, here's not a novel idea, but a tried and true one. We actually have less than half a minute to say accolades to our dear listeners, and to thank you, Gabe, for your stunning presence. So let me do that because we're running out of time. Gabe, we wholeheartedly just thank you so much for everything. Have a great night. And if you're going to say something, dude, you got like about 5 seconds.
Mark, thank you so much for manning the boards and being Mark Borchardt.
2-1. Thank you, Gabe.
Mark, keep being you, man. Don't quit fighting.
We will be on at the same time next week on WXR WLP 104.1 FM Milwaukee. To hear past episodes, visit riverwestradio.com/shows and click Cinema Fireside.